April 2026, the world's most critical maritime artery is once again a theater of war. As we speak, the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow passage responsible for nearly 30% of the world's seaborne oil, has been declared a restricted zone by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. Just 48 hours ago, a US-guided missile destroyer, the USS Spruance, opened fire on an Iranian-flagged cargo vessel after it allegedly attempted to bypass a naval blockade. The response from Tehran was swift, a total closure of the strait and a vow of crushing retaliation. Oil prices have already surged past $95 a barrel, and global markets are bracing for a systemic shock. Is this the beginning of a total regional war or a high-stakes game of geopolitical chicken? Today we break down the battle for Hormuz, the strategies of the players involved, and why the next few days could change the global economy forever.
To understand why this battle matters, you have to look at the map. The Strait of Hormuz is barely 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. Through this choke point passes the lifeblood of the global economy. Oil from Saudi Arabia, Iraq, the UAE and Kuwait, along with 20% of the world's liquefied natural gas. For Iran, this geography is their greatest weapon. Unlike a conventional navy that seeks to control the open ocean, the IRGC uses a doctrine called active denial. They don't need to win a ship-to-ship battle against the US Navy. They only need to make the strait too dangerous for insurance companies to allow tankers to pass. Since late February, after the assassination of high-ranking Iranian officials and subsequent retaliatory strikes, this area has become a graveyard of merchant shipping. We've seen at least 16 commercial vessels damaged, and traffic has dropped by a staggering 70%. For the first time in decades, the freedom of navigation, a pillar of international law, is being fundamentally challenged.
How does a nation with a fraction of the US military budget hold the world hostage? The answer lies in asymmetry. The Iranian naval strategy for 2026 has evolved. They have moved away from large, vulnerable warships and toward manned-unmanned teaming. This involves hundreds of small, fast attack boats equipped with precision missiles and suicide drones. By swarming a multi-billion-dollar US destroyer, they force the adversary to expend limited, high-cost interceptors on $20,000 targets. Under the surface, the threat is even more invisible. Iran has deployed the Asdar or Dragon system, intelligent autonomous bottom mines that remain silent until a specific acoustic signature is detected. These sleeping mines have already claimed victims, including an oil tanker north of Khasab. This isn't just a military conflict, it's a technological one. Iran is using a silent targeting chain, low probability of intercept data links and buried fiber optic cables along the coast, making it incredibly difficult for Western electronic warfare systems to jam their communications before a strike.
The international community is not standing still. The US Fifth Fleet, reinforced by a massive coalition including the UK and regional partners, has implemented its own counter-strategy, a naval blockade of Iranian ports. President Donald Trump recently clarified that while freedom of navigation is maintained for neutral vessels, any ship docking at or departing from Iranian ports is now a target. This economic strangulation is designed to force Tehran back to the negotiating table in Pakistan. However, the strategy is a double-edged sword. Every time a US ship fires, the price of fuel in Europe and Asia spikes. India, a major consumer of Persian Gulf energy, has expressed deep concern after its vessels were caught in the crossfire. The geopolitical yellow line has been drawn, but as we enter the 8th week of this conflict, neither side seems willing to blink.
So where does the battle go from here? The selection of Mojtaba Khamenei as Iran's new leader signals a move toward a war of survival. Tehran has shown it is willing to escalate horizontally, hitting targets in neighboring countries to prove that if Iran cannot export oil, no one will. The coming days are critical. A fragile 10-day ceasefire is nearing its end. If diplomatic efforts in Islamabad fail, we could see the first full-scale naval war of the drone era. The battle for the Strait of Hormuz is no longer just a regional dispute. It is a struggle for the future of global trade and energy security. The question remains, can the world afford the cost of this conflict, or is the price of peace simply too high to pay? For the latest updates on this developing situation, stay tuned.